almost sold about $100,000 in video games this year to date alone,
Oh my God.
which is almost as much as I did. But that's just like raw sales. So
Yeah.
it's pretty crazy. We haven't even hit Q4 yet for the year.
Hey guys, I'm Josh Brown.
And I'm Jordan Stevens.
And you're watching the Cars and Health Bars podcast. Let's get right into the episode. What's going on, guys? Welcome to Cars and Health Bars. On today's episode, we are joined by Tom White. Tom, I ran into you kind of in an old-fashioned way, if you will, on good old Facebook Marketplace. So, I mean, tell us a little bit about your game shop and fill our viewers in on what it's like owning a retro game shop.
Yeah, so it's kind of like grassroots podcast recruiting, right? Yeah, so I use Facebook Marketplace. I've been using it for about 6 years, and I primarily buy, sell, and trade video games. I've been doing this since just around COVID. I think everybody was kind of looking for an activity then with some downtime and a way to make some money potentially. People were starting to kind of go crazy with collectibles. So from trading cards to video games to pretty much anything from the 90s and early 2000s, we're starting to go up in value. So I first started with Pokemon trading card game, Wizards of the Coast kind of era trading cards. But to me, it was too tedious. There was way too many pictures I had to take, way too many people asking like what kind of grade the card would get. And it just became, like I said, way too tedious to sell cards. And there was a lot of money in it, and I did really well with it. But I wanted to find something else on the flipping side of things that just wasn't as meticulous, I guess, from a seller and buyer standpoint. So I transitioned into video games. I used to play quite a bit of like Nintendo, Super Nintendo, N64 when I was a kid. So I knew those kind of well. But what I've learned in the last, few years beyond that, even what I've played, has really helped my business quite a bit. So on Facebook Marketplace, I sell primarily there, but I also source primarily on Facebook Marketplace. So I'm, one of those like 40-hour per week refreshers. So a ton of manual labor, like actually refreshing multiple tabs, searching across the US, looking for profitable video game lots. And a lot of it is convincing the sellers to ship it my way too, and paying them ahead of time. And there's a whole process there to do. It's a lot of trust that I put into the seller, but I also have kind of the metrics and ROI and all of that I'm looking for in the lots that I source, so that it's worth it, even if something is maybe defective or they don't ship something. So I've been doing this on the side. It's just a hobby. It basically pays just as much as my full-time job, though.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I've really turned it into a huge business, but just by myself. So I kind of operate it out of my house here, mostly out of my basement is where I store everything. But I've got a lot of tips and tricks that I do, and I've learned along the way to make my business profitable, lean, and just constant cash flowing in and out. So
did you ever expect it to kind of get as big as it is now, making as much as your other job, your main job?
Not quite. But when I realized, there was a direct correlation of the effort I put in is what I get out of it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty motivated by that. So I didn't realize it would be this profitable. I've almost sold about $100,000 in video games this year to date alone,
Oh my God.
which is almost as much as I did last year. But that's just raw sales. So
Yeah.
it's pretty crazy. We haven't even hit Q4 yet for the year. So a lot of
Man.
it is, just buying. And I try to, put things online right away. I don't hoard. I don't, have a whole pile of things that I have to clean and list. Like inventory I got in today that I found, I already have on Marketplace, and I use Vinted as well. I just started using to cross list too. So it's been kind of a new experience for me there.
Yeah, man, that was one of my main questions. How did you come across finding these games? Because for me now, the way things are we live in kind of the deeper South, people having yard sales all the time. I don't personally go to them because I just don't have time. But my mom, my family members, I'm like, if you go to a yard sale, either buy them on the spot or shoot them to me, because a lot of those video games they're selling for $5, really worth 60, $70. It's I wondered how you went about sourcing those games, because I mean, man, you pick up a game at a yard sale for $5 that flips for 70. That's insane profit.
Yeah.
So, kind of what I've told my family members is like, don't buy any video games that you see. You're already too late because most of those garage sales and like estate sales that people go to, they're not the ones that are there the night before or 2 hours before it opens, right?
Yeah.
And people like scout that out. They have a whole plan in place of what garage sales are going to hit in what order, what times are going to get there. So
Wow.
that market's pretty much saturated with like the pros.
That's
Um,
crazy.
so I do not like going to garage sales. I do not like, stopping at garage sales. It's not worth my time, and I hardly find it.
Yeah.
I'm usually too late, or it's, garage sales start on a Friday morning now instead of Saturday. So if I check it out
Oh
on
yeah.
Saturday, there's a good chance I've already missed what it is. So I stick to marketplace. That's my bread and butter. So yeah, that's kind of where I source everything then.
That's really cool.
Marketplace just does it all. Then
Yeah.
that's what I'm.
Me personally, I was kind of skeptical because I'd never bought anything off Marketplace that I wasn't going and picking up. So like, I was kind of like, man, what happens if I lose my, like, I wasn't worried about you, just like in general, like the idea of like, oh my gosh, just sending somebody money and an individual and then them promising to ship it. Like, oh my gosh, this is kind of like sketchy, but no, it worked out good, man. I was fired up and I'm like, man, this has been a positive experience, really. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure you do it all the time now.
So I've sold about 2,000 lots on Marketplace, and then I have almost 1,000 5-star ratings. So I'm at like 976
It's incredible.
an hour ago. So my goal is to get to 1,000 by year end, and with those ratings too, that puts a lot of trust in the buyers wanting to pay me with like a Venmo or a Cash App, which typically you're not doing online because of the amount of scams. So it's much nicer because it reduces the fees on my end. Then.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I was going to ask, what kind of did you grow up with gaming? Just like the N64, like, what games kind of got you hooked?
So I grew up with the Super Nintendo primarily.
Okay.
And then one of my buddies had an N64, and we play Zelda, we play Super Smash Brothers on the 64, and primarily though I would say Super Nintendo and then PS2.
Okay, yeah.
The two main systems I gamed on, and then after the PS2, I didn't play. As soon as I went to college, it was pretty much done with video games at that point.
Yeah.
And then that didn't come back until around COVID when, again, had more time.
Free time.
Yeah, and I realized, hey, there's money in flipping. So, yeah, mostly that. I'll play a little bit of Switch now.
Oh, cool.
But, it's just when I have a little bit of time here and there.
Yeah.
I enjoy more sourcing and cleaning games and, listing stuff. Playing video games, I just don't have the time as much anymore.
Yeah.
Definitely relate to that. Working, I've got my day job and plus doing the podcast. It's very exhausting trying to run two things at once. Like you said, a hobby kind of turns into more of a side gig, and then who knows where it'll go beyond that. You never do.
Right.
We were talking about like how varying the prices can be. I'm kind of curious, like, what are some holy grails you've came across? Because I mean, it's definitely some of those Nintendo games get super up there.
Yep. I found quite a few things. I mean, I found lots that have probably given me like $1,000 to $3,000 in profit, just from
wow.
one lot alone. So let's see a couple of like notable ones. A few years back, I found this regular Nintendo lot or NES, and there was 2 copies of Bonk's Adventure in there. You may have never heard of the game, but it goes for about $800 or $900 per game, and I found 2 in the same lot. I've never found one since.
Wow,
that's insane.
So I bid it up, and I ended up making probably like $1,200 on the lot.
That's
but
so
just to
good,
find
dude.
those 2 was pretty crazy. And then I think it was earlier this year or late last year. Somebody in Illinois, somebody's wife in Illinois, I should clarify, was selling her husband's old PlayStation 2 stuff, and there was some horror games in there. So Silent Hill, Resident Evil.
Yep.
Well, in that lot, she said, "Oh, a few games are still sealed." So I was like, "Oh, cool."
Oh,
and there was
wow.
already like $200 for a PS2, and then some of these games. So I got it, and she shipped it to me. And in there was a sealed Haunting Ground. So Haunting Ground is like a $800 complete game by itself, but sealed. I got it graded. It's one of the highest graded games out there right now. It's like $2,400. I have it listed.
Wow.
God, bro.
So that was one, and there was a Resident Evil that was sealed. 2 Resident.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. RE4 on GameCube goes for some.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So that was another one that probably was like a net of like $2,000 or $3,000 when everything was said and done. I bought one. This lady reached out to me. I actually have some of the games right here. I don't know if you can see okay.
Yeah.
There's just a few, but she reached back out to
Yeah.
me the other week, and she said, "Oh, my son's selling some more video games." So I'm like, "Okay, cool. What do you have?" So she sent me get these here. But there's some Kirby, there's Jet Grind radios.
Okay.
Oh,
there.
cool.
But yeah, so she's like, okay, he wants $350 for the rest of this. I'm like, yep, sign me up. So I just inventoried it all today, cleaned it up. The cases are like super, super clean. I put them in protecting sleeve kind of things.
Yeah.
But I inventoried it all out. It's about worth $2,100, I think. So I'm $350 into it. And so, yeah, it'll take me some time to sell, but I'm going to a convention in Cleveland, Ohio on September 11th, 12th, and 13th coming up. So
Oh, cool.
that's another like venue where I sell things, especially the higher end that's tougher to move online.
Yeah.
Use eBay.
Yeah. What are some of the most sought after games that like you always get requested or seeing if you have?
Yeah, Pokemon, everything Pokemon.
Really?
So
Okay.
if it's the original like Game Boy Advance games, Game Boy Color, Gold, Silver, Blue, Red, Yellow, all the way to Heart Gold, Soul Silver, all those other ones. It's never ending market of Pokemon. So I had somebody today reach out asking for 3 Pokemon games. Only had one of them. But those continue to have a really good value, good resale value, and I can find them pretty commonly. If I find a lot out there, a lot of the time people have Pokemon in it because everybody just played it as kids, and there's millions of copies sold. So it's always Pokemon, and then any like handhelds too. So like the Nintendo
okay.
DS's,
Yeah.
Game Boy Advance SPs, like things like that sell really well.
I would have definitely assumed it would have been a Zelda title of some sort.
That too. I sell to Amazon sellers. I sell to DK Oldies.
Wow.
A couple of the other like big names that you hear of, maybe.
Yeah.
So I get my piece of the pie when I source it, and I inventory everything and list it. But I also move things as quickly as I can too. So sometimes that's to those people that sell on Amazon because they have buy lists. So if I'm going too fast here, let me know. But I get excited.
No, you're good.
You're
No,
fine.
So there's these Amazon sellers, and they have to source their video games somehow, and they're not just refreshing Marketplace 24/7. So what they do is they put out these buy lists, and they categorize them by system and say, this is what we're going to pay for Wii Sports. This is what we're going to pay for Pokemon Gold, Pokemon Silver, and you name the game, they pretty much sell all the main titles. So they say, hey, I'm going to pay 50. Or let me give you a good example. I'm going to pay $30 for Wii Sports. It can be disc only. It can come with the case, whatever. So I might sell them my Wii Sports if I have, a couple extra ones, whatever. And that's easy money. It's an easy flip. I usually get it much cheaper than that. But what I'll do is I'll separate inventory for the buy list people that I have, and then the rest of the inventory I list myself. So there's that quick flip, if you will, of getting my money back on maybe what I put into the investment, and then the rest of it being profit. So kind of went maybe off topic there, but
No.
that's one avenue that I sell. And then of course I list it online, and then I usually try to hit up like 1 to 2 conventions a year with all the other stuff. And conventions are great because you have people with big pockets.
Yeah, that's why they went. Yeah, to spend money.
Crazy money. They'll walk up to you and be like, oh yeah, I'll buy those 2 things. Here's $600. You're like, okay, great.
God, I've always wanted to hit up one of those conventions to see what that's like. 'Cause, it really does look like a lot of fun just to see what everybody has. Some games, man, like I know our local video game shop, like certain games are like, yeah, if we had it, it'd be in a dang display case. I'm like, oh, it's crazy. Like,
yeah, we've gotten burned. We've brought stuff. The first time we did the Milwaukee convention, it's called the Midwest Gaming Classic. And we were just kind of new going into it for the first time. And I had, probably $1,000 worth of games stolen. And you learn from that.
Oh my God,
I chalked it up to, a good learning. But, we started to get more protective cases and, the ones that have like the flip shelf that goes, we store all the games in there. So we got smart about it. But, it takes instances like that to learn.
Definitely. So, I assume you sell more actual games than you do consoles, but what are some of your like big selling consoles right now?
Wii's always sell really well. They're 20 plus years old, I think, at this point, but
hard to believe.
Yeah, I still.
It really ain't for me.
Usually during like the fourth quarter around Christmas, people just go crazy for them because they're nostalgic and they can play with their families.
They are
connected to the internet. Nobody's talking shit to their, somebody across
Yeah.
the line. So they're safe for kids, So I sell a lot of those. Switches move pretty slow right now. Even though they're like the most modern console, they still move slow. But PlayStation 2 usually sells pretty well, especially when they actually work. Because
Oh yeah,
lasers
I
tend
burned
to
mine
pop.
up.
GameCube sell well. Um, Typically, what I'll do is I don't just list a console by itself too often. I'll list it with some games that my buyers aren't buying, the buy list people at least.
Yeah,
So I might put like six, NFL, Madden ish kind of titles with it just to move those,
Yeah.
make it more appealing. But really, I mean, every day is different. Today I sold a Game Boy Color locally here, and I sold a Kingdom Hearts DS game just randomly. So yesterday I have somebody lined up tomorrow to buy a PS2 with some games, and then somebody next Tuesday to buy a GameCube with some games. So it's all over the place.
yeah. Like I said, I've been like I was telling you, I'm kind of like collecting consoles like Infinity Stones right now. I'm just kind of debating on what I'm going to get next. I think I'm probably going to be looking for an N64. Definitely going to go through you now, man. Like I said, the yard sale thing, I've kind of always told family members, yeah, I keep the eye out. But man, it's like you said, it's kind of everything's usually picked over. Yeah, it's not really much left at all. I got really lucky. A coworker of mine, he was getting ready to close a storage unit. He's like, I think I got a PlayStation. He ran an eBay shop and he had it. He just gave me a PS2 that worked fine and everything. I was like, man, I'd give you like $60 for it at least. He's like, no, man, I lucked out on my PlayStation.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I think people get like that touch of nostalgia. A lot of my buyers, I feel like at least, are like, "Oh yeah, I want a PlayStation 2." And like when I would imagine when they start to play it and they see the graphics, they're like, "This isn't what I remember it to be." It was like the cutting edge of technology when those things were
Oh
released.
yeah,
Yeah.
N64 holds up pretty well, but I think when people go and play like even GameCube sometimes or
yeah.
PS2, PS1, they're like, wow, this is really boxy.
Dude, that's what happened to me whenever I loaded up. I was so hyped because I have a like original Guitar Hero guitar, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna like play some dad rock. And I loaded up, like, oh my god, this looks horrible.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder how many people, buy a console from me and then like they play for an hour, they're like, this isn't like as great as I thought it would be.
Oh man,
I
I
know
hope not.
I've only had a couple people reach out like a couple weeks later and be like, hey, would you buy this back for like half? And I'm like, yeah, sure.
That's crazy, dude. No, man, like I love like I eat it up. Like I said, it noticeably looks like worse, but like I've got a young child and I grew up playing like Mario Party and stuff on N64. I've got Mario Party 5 for my GameCube. Oh, it's like her favorite thing to do is like load up because it's like a virtual board game. It's
Right.
so much fun.
Super fun. Yeah.
The Wii too, man. Talking about the Wii, I feel like it was such an
Yeah.
underrated console.
Yeah, and the part with the Wii 2 is that it's for all generations. So like you can have
Yeah.
elderly in a nursing home bowling and like playing tennis, and you see that
Mhm.
online where they have leagues and like all that stuff. So I think it did a really good job of hitting all of their audiences.
Yeah, for sure. That was one of the best. The PS2 and the Wii are probably like two of the best consoles ever made.
Yeah, and it helped that it was reverse compatible too for the PS2.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll change gears a little bit here. I want to know a little bit about you buying games and everything. I want to know how much of a issue you run into with reproductions or fake, or whether if something's real or not. I'm sure that's an issue. Having counterfeit cartridges and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, from trading cards to video games, like they're all over the place reproductions. Um, After a while, you get used to like seeing what's fake, and I can usually tell within like a second or two just looking at it because of the color saturation of a label to just like the back of the cartridge, what that looks like. And I can
Yeah.
usually tell when I'm sourcing just based on the seller. So if it's like a newer profile
Yeah.
person on Facebook,
Yeah.
the nice part about Facebook is you can see the actual user that's selling it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so I can tell from that. There's been times, when I bought stuff and I'm kind of on the edge of like not knowing if it was reproduction or not, but I usually don't have that much invested in it. So it's kind of like if it is real, then sure, more profit. But if it isn't, I'm still either like break even or close. So it happens all the time. You just get really good at spotting it out very quickly when you see the same game over and over again. Again, the biggest ones being Pokemon games, but you can tell pretty quickly after you search for a while.
Yeah, for some reason it seems like too, whenever you look at like cheap games that would be expensive, it's like everybody sells the Japanese version. Like, what's with that?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just much cheaper for the Japanese or any kind of like PAL version, PAL. I'm not even sure what it stands for, but usually it's like a European kind of copy of it. So it's just much cheaper, and they usually play on the console still. So
Yeah.
it's just, I mean, I say go like the route of emulation. I think that's just easier when it comes to more retro stuff. Plus, you get to play more games for a lot less money.
Right.
But I understand the physical hardware side of it too.
Yeah. What is your like honest opinion on emulators? Because I mean, it definitely cuts into your business because these guys are getting games they can play any game they want to on a PC.
Right. I couldn't tell you how much it cuts into my business. I think you're always going to have the physical hardware people, and you see that now with like the PS3 like games going up in value and PlayStation transitioning to just digital. So you still have this rush of people that want the physical hardware. I'm all for emulation. I think it's expensive as hell to play video games, like especially retro stuff. Like you spent what 55, 60 on a Super Smash Brothers. That's how many years old? Like why not get something that can just emulate the games? I think it's much easier. It's much easier to transport, to not break.
Yeah.
So I'm all for it. I think it's a good route, especially for those that are trying to collect physical.
Yeah, I could definitely get that too. Like I said, I'm kind of just collecting consoles just for, I mean, shoot, desk pieces even. Like, I play mine, but it is I do enjoy having that physical copy of like, dang, I felt like I'm just like I'm like a kid reliving Christmas playing Smash Bros for the first time all over again. But yeah, I definitely see that. The guys who don't want to own a N64 to play, Mario Kart 64 and then a GameCube to play Smash Bros and so on and so forth. They can just have it all in one box.
Yeah, the nice part too is like if they or you or anybody else like buys the physical hardware and then decides, hey, I don't want this anymore, that value is still there.
Yeah, that's a whole other aspect.
Like it's just like you buy a new car off the lot and all of a sudden the value's down. Like you could sell that. You could turn around and still sell that Smash Brothers for the same amount if you wanted to.
It's almost like buying gold or something.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's. I mean, people look at it as an investment or an asset, to invest in that might go up in value. That's what's driving the market right now.
How much do you see the market fluctuate? Because I mean, like you said, it's they are increasing in value.
I haven't seen it increase too much. Like for the volume that I sell, which is quite a bit, the prices don't vary that much. There's certain games sometimes that start to go up in value, but even if you look at I always go back to like Pokemon games because there's so much volume in that.
Yeah.
They don't change that much. They've kind of gotten to a peak over the last couple of years, and they haven't really moved from that. So sometimes it comes down to condition, though. There might be like a baseline price, but then there might be $5-10 more for something that's like pristine, or $5-10 less for something that's got some label wear or sun damage or whatever it might be.
For sure. I see caseless copies go for like way, way, way cheap.
Yeah.
What are you saying, Jordan?
I was going to ask, do you see, with certain seasons, like you said, Christmas, is there like certain games that, seem to fluctuate in value?
Not so much. Like, I think Wii Sports and like Wii tends to, I don't know how to phrase this, but like sometimes like a bundle, like there'll just be more demand for something. It doesn't necessarily mean the price is going to go up. It just means, I might sell more Wiis. And Wii Sports bundles essentially during the holiday season, or like here in Wisconsin, where I'm out of, we have the seasons, right? So, in the winter time and when there's less daylight, all that, people are going to stay inside longer. They're going to want to play video games. So I see that increase just generally speaking there. But going into the summer, like when school's out, sometimes there's a little bit of like a spike there just for like kids wanting to have something to do. But most of the time, people aren't playing video games in the summer that often.
Yeah.
So I see a drop there. But now I've started to see it pick up again, beginning of August, and hopefully it just stays very busy the rest of the year. But I'll even see like January, February being like the coldest months, darkest months. That's usually my busiest time of the year.
Gotcha.
I want to thank Chemical Guys for sponsoring the Cars and Health Bars podcast. If you're like me, you used to just go to the parts house and grab whatever cleaner was on clearance, or shoot, maybe even hit up one of them quarter washers in town. Well, I'm here to tell you, you can start living your life different with our sponsor, Chemical Guys. They have kits all the way up from your starter kit for $50, gets you the bare essentials, gets you a bucket, gets you a mitt, some Mr. Pink's soap, all the way up to the Mr. Pink's Ultimate Arsenal. It comes with 3 bottles of spray wax, the foam soap, the brush, the drying towel, the foam can, and the mitt, and your glass cleaner. And let me tell you something, this glass cleaner changed the game for me. Whenever it says streak free, I'm telling you, I used to hit my car with some paper towels and some Windex because that's how you had to do it. This, you can actually use microfiber towel and it gets rid of the streaks. It's unlike anything I've ever seen before. I personally use this on my Camaro before I go to car meet. Shoot, I've even used it on the windows in my house, brother. Now, if you want to get real bougie and get real fancy, they of course have all your hydro coat, all your ceramic stuff, clay bars. If you want to really get into that nitty gritty, why hit up a detailer when you can just detail your own stuff using Chemical Guys? They make it so easy and so affordable to get a mass amount of products, and it's everything you need. It takes all the guesswork out of piecing together an arsenal. So with that being said, guys, use our promo code CARS10 to get 10% off your order and check out some Chemical Guys. Send us some pictures of your stuff. We'd love to show it on the show. I want to shout out Reynolds Creek Performance for sponsoring the Cars and Health Bars podcast. If you're in Kentucky or anywhere close and you've got an LS, LT, or Mopar set up and your car just isn't running right, you need to know about this shop, because here's the deal. A lot of people throw parts at their cars, cam, injector, turbo, whatever, and wonder why it runs like garbage. 9 times out of 10, it's the tune. That's where Reynolds Creek Performance comes in. These guys specialize in actual calibration, not just slapping a base map on your car and sending it out the door. They dial in fuel, spark, drivability, making sure your setup runs the way it's supposed to. They're on a Mustang dyno. You're getting real honest numbers, not inflated dyno sheets. And more importantly, your car's going to run right on the street and not just look good on paper. They work on everything from cammed street cars, boosted setups, and they're big on doing things the right way. That means no shortcuts, no junk parts, no we'll figure it out later builds. If your car is ready, they'll make sure it's right. If you're not local, they even do travel tuning, which is huge if you're trying to get set up dialed in without hauling your car across state. So if you're tired of chasing issues or just finished a build and want it done right the first time, go check them out. You can contact Isaac at Reynolds Creek Performance at 606-706-8330. You can also find him at 3388 Reynolds Creek Road. That's their shop. Or shoot him an email at reynoldscreekperformance@outlook.com. Also, we have them linked down below. Hit them up, support a solid local performance shop, and get your car running the way it should. I want to thank SteelSeries for sponsoring the Cars and Health Bars podcast. If you are a gamer, it is a household name. SteelSeries is one of the best in the business, whether you're looking for earmuffs, microphones, speakers, keyboards, mice, mouse pads, controllers, they've got them. I mean, they've got some of the best mice in the game. Is anybody going to argue with that? I, of course, have the Rival 5. You guys know that. I mean, it's a $50 mouse. What are you doing? Do you not have $50 to spend on a nice mouse? SteelSeries has some of the best stuff in the game. I really like their microphones, too. The very convenient mute button here shows you your volume level while you're talking. Their keyboards, the Apex 7. Have you not seen this? Of course, I have one of these too. What I like most about it is the armrest is magnetic and removable. So whether you're kind of wanting that or not, and their keys are removable, fully customizable OLED display. Don't even get me started on their headsets. They have some of the best headsets in the game. I need to pick me up a set. Just $150 for this headset, fully wireless. Their Artis Nova 5 wireless has a 60-hour battery life and quick switch from wireless, so you can pop in and out that battery pack with ease. What else is there to say? For you console guys, they even have earbuds that have console support. They have all different kind of price point headsets. If you want to ball out and get the Artis Nova Elite, all the way down to your $160 to even $100 headsets. And that's $100 for a wireless headset with 60 hours of battery life. Does it get much better? Also have these bundles. If you want to take the guesswork out of it and just buy a whole bundle, SteelSeries has you covered with the mouse, the keyboard, and the headset, and 20% off. Make sure you click the link down in the description so they know we sent you. And I want to, again, thank SteelSeries for sponsoring the Cars and Health Bars podcast. Wow. Yeah, I was wondering if you would ever get to the point where you would try to start up like some sort of a storefront, end game, or if it is more valuable to run out of. I mean, you have no overhead where you are now.
Yeah, I thought about it. I don't want to be tied down to like a store schedule, have overhead, be expected to be in store, 5 days a week, whatever. And I know I wouldn't have to run it, but if I don't run it, somebody else does, and that's more overhead.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's possible. but I don't want to deal with that right now. Right now, I can do well enough where I'm sourcing the product. Sometimes I have a buddy of mine clean the video games, and he has like a per game, cleaning price essentially, depending on the type of game. So I do have like where I can send games to locally here to have them all cleaned for me. It just cuts into my bottom line. So
what do you mean by cleaning? Like not just physically cleaning, but also like
as well.
Okay, yeah.
So, I might have a dirty, I don't know, N64 game that I get in, or like a bunch of them, right? Usually it's going to be more than one. So I might give them like 50 games at a time. And there might be stickers on it. It might have just some writing on it. Like all that can get removed, with the proper care. So I might give him all those. He'll spend the time to do it. And then he'll give it back to me. And then he'll give me like a spreadsheet of like, this is how much I'm invoicing you essentially.
Okay.
So I do that when it makes sense to, or when I'm overwhelmed with inventory. A lot of the time when I get it in, I usually have the time to inventory, clean it all, and then list it. But if I want to, save some time or I have too much going on, then I'll just, outsource that.
Do you ever run into issues whenever you purchase games from someone and like they're scratched all get out and they're just not even salvageable?
Oh no.
Yeah. So funny you ask that. So sometimes, a lot of the time I'll get a lot of scratched up games and I'll only sell things that work, or I'll make it clear that they're defective, right? But some of the buy list people that I sell to that, sell on Amazon or whatever, they have disc resurfacers, so they might clean them up and they can salvage them.
Yeah.
Or if they're that bad, I can bring them to GameStop, and GameStop still scans them in. They give me store credit. So,
oh my God.
Yeah. So
that's crazy.
I'll bring, once in a while, GameStop has some pretty good promos, and like they'll take defective consoles sometimes. So if I get a Wii or a GameCube and that doesn't work at all, and I've tried to troubleshoot it, they have promos sometimes where they'll have you trade in defective consoles, and they'll give you like $40-$50 for them.
Wow.
In credit. So
yeah.
So then I usually accumulate credit for a while, and I bought 3 Nintendo Switch 2s new with credit, and then I used those Nintendo Switch 2s to trade here in Green Bay for older collections, and then I get those games in, I sell those. So right now I have 2 Nintendo Switches, Switch 2s that are new from GameStop credit about a month ago.
Okay.
So there's crazy. For me, it's like every piece that I get in, there's some way to generate value from that, right?
Yeah.
So I can kind of look at a lot as I'm sourcing it and be like, okay, I know I can basically take all this stuff and flip it into whatever profit. So you kind of learn that along the way. But everything I get in, essentially, there's some way I can make money somehow with it, or I throw it away.
Yeah, I'm sure you've learned a lot of tricks in troubleshooting like consoles. I'm sure you're very familiar with multiple issues that certain consoles are notorious for.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can troubleshoot some of them. And, a lot of the consoles just need a good cleaning is what it comes down to. Nintendo, has really solid consoles for the most part. Like I've only run into one N64 that I couldn't get to work. A lot of it was cleaning it. So, otherwise, I mean, Wii's, sometimes the disc reader is off or doesn't work. So then I'll trade that in for credit or, sell it defective. But yeah, most of the time the consoles work. And a lot of that is also making sure when I source them, I'm sourcing from like decent sellers. You can tell if something's like trashy just by the pictures they have on Marketplace.
Yeah.
And I'll usually avoid that a lot. But, I try to be selective with the sellers that I'm buying from too. And even with like the dirty games we talked about, I try to just like avoid lots like that because I just know how much labor goes into having to turn that around.
It sounds like you're really selective on the stuff you take in. That's it's got to be really good for your business. Like you said, if it's not cutting into anything, why not look for the higher quality stuff? I'm sure that helps with your buyers too. Knowing that you only take on stuff that can be fixed. I was wondering too, are your buyers like mostly chasing collections or complete copies, or are you mostly just kind of running into people like me that are just trying to pick up something from their childhood?
It's all over the board.
Really?
I have some people that specifically want like collector worthy quality. And then some people will just be like, I need a Wii with 5 games. What do you have? So it's all over the place. I think it's a lot of fun to see like sometimes the desperation in the buyers too, especially around the holiday seasons. They're like, I just need a Wii or I just need a Switch. Like,
yeah.
My niece is like really wanting something. What do you have? Like, I'll buy it. When can I meet up with you? So it's funny to see that. And then some people are like, I need it shipped like out tomorrow. I'm like, well, next day air is like $50 to ship it. They're like, okay, I'll pay it. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Golly.
I couldn't believe how fast I got my title super fast. I wasn't expecting that quickly. I mean, I had mine. Dang, I don't remember when I paid you, but I mean, it was like the next very first of the week.
Paid and then Tuesday delivered. So that's just USPS Ground Advantage. So they do a pretty good job sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, you mentioned like all the stories. I'm wondering. I mean, you had to have had some crazy stories from your sellers. You know, people lowballing you, people offering to trade, like strange people. Like, give us some good stories from the seller side.
I've blocked probably like 1,000 people that have messaged me. I think that's the thing to do too, because now on Facebook Marketplace, they can give you a rating even if they didn't buy your item. Like after you have like 4 messages back and forth, people can rate you. So if you like, I would say like my advice to other sellers is block people as quickly as you can if you know it's going to go bad.
Fair enough.
Because it's just not worth that, and the rating sticks with you. So, gosh, some good stories. I've made a lot of mistakes where, you know, I have people meet me at my front door to pick up items, and I really try to avoid that. Like,
oh yeah,
I've had people come here and then have buyer's remorse because they, you know, they'll tell me like, oh, it didn't work. I'm like, I know it works. And they'll come to my door at like 10 p.m. at night, and I'm trying to sleep. You know, my wife's upstairs. I'm like, I don't know who's knocking at the door.
Yeah.
So there's been times where it's been a little bit dicey. So I try to meet at like a public place just right up the road. I'm really bad at like recalling stories of.
Oh no, you're good.
So most of the time it's just public meetups. Again, I haven't had a whole lot that's like gone wrong. A lot of that is just kind of feeling out the buyer and just like mitigating that risk as quickly as you can by blocking people because it's just not worth it. And you know, it's only a matter of time before another buyer comes along and wants the same item at full price or maybe 10% off. But like low balls, I'm usually just like, is this a joke?
I will say your pricing, and I'm sure it's just the marketplace mindset of like, because I mean that's the whole thing on marketplace. Like they're asking 60, nah, they'll take 45. Like, you know, that's just how it is. They just think it's an auction house almost. But I mean, your pricing, in my opinion, you know, I visit DK Oldies occasionally looking for certain titles, but dude, your pricing is super competitive. I mean, you are right there where, I mean, I would even say a little bit cheaper than what you should be. I couldn't. Yeah. I mean, I thought I paid a fair price for Smash Bros. To be honest with you, I thought you cut me a very good deal on it.
Yeah, I definitely a fair price. Like DK Oldies, they have their strengths and they have a really good guarantee. I think it's like a 1-year thing.
Yeah,
they have a really great selection. You know, and they clean their items really well. I know there's some pretty bad videos about like not testing things or cleaning.
Definitely, yeah.
But they have their strengths. Mine is more, you know, I have a good presentation for it on my countertop here. Good lighting. It looks clean. It looks good. I clean it up. I test it all. But I'm not looking for like top value, right? I want it to still be a pretty decent deal. And there are some things that I'm like right at market price for because they just move quickly and people, you know, there's more demand for it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, for me, I don't want to like sit on it that long. And there's some stuff. Well, what I would say is like every single item I bought, except for like 10 items last year in 2025, which is like 3,500 individual items, I've sold already. So I'm not sitting on like all this inventory. Like I said, I try to get it, you know, in the door, inventory cleaned and out the door as quickly as possible. But of course, there's stuff I'm going to be sitting on for a while. But I mean, for the most part, like my ROI when I source something has to be 100%. That's my minimum. So if I'm buying something, I have to know that I'm going to sell it for double that. So, you know, this month alone so far, 19 days in, I've spent about $5,500 on video games. I expect to make that back, if not more. So there's, you know, that threshold that I have, but I need to also be able to move stuff fairly quickly to make that.
How do you track all your purchases? Do you just have like a big spreadsheet or?
Yeah. Okay. I'm an Excel freak, so
that makes one of us.
Yeah. No, you don't like it?
No.
So every single purchase I have, you know, the purchase date, I have the price I paid for it, how I paid for it, the tracking number if I'm still waiting for it to come in. And then what I do is I inventory every single item on GameEye, which is an app you can use. It's free. So I have my collection that's inventoried, and then I also have all my for sale stuff that's inventoried. So then I itemize it all in the spreadsheet, and then I attribute a cost to every single item based on the purchase price. and the perceived value of that item. So
Okay.
I break it all down, and then I have another spreadsheet. You guys probably love this already, but another spreadsheet that has all my for sale inventory. So it's listed out
Okay. Yeah.
console. So if somebody's like, "What do you all have for sale?" I'm like, "Here's my spreadsheet. It's always up to date. It's a live spreadsheet. You can refresh it every day if you want to, but I'm always adding and subtracting from it as I sell things." So the nice part is it's upfront. It has the prices, so it's not a guessing game for the buyer.
I felt so bad asking you because I think after I done purchase Smash Bros, or maybe it was before, I was like, oh, I'm also looking for this game. I was like, man, I feel kind of bad because I'm like, why don't you go look for it? Like, I didn't know if you had like a website or something set up where I could check your inventory. And
Yeah, I'll send it to you, but it's it's just a live spreadsheet. It's got my entire for sale list on it, every console, every game, every peripheral. So like some random controllers and stuff.
yeah,
But yeah, I think that's what I did when I was doing trading cards too. If you go to like some of these buy sell trade groups, they're like, "Oh, I have this card for sale," and then it becomes this whole guessing game of like what the price is, what the condition is. I try to leave that like guessing game out, and I just say, "Here's
Yeah.
what I have. Here's the prices. Here's the condition if it needs to be noted." I think it just makes it that much easier for the buyer. Like on Vinted, I have a Super Nintendo for sale on there, and the buyer reached out. He's like, "Hey, I saw your listings. You have a lot of other games posted too. Like, do you have can you send me a list of what all games you have?" So I just copy and paste it from the spreadsheet, send it right to him. And I haven't looked for a response yet, but he's going to pick and choose what games he wants to go along with that console. So it's kind of like an a la carte sort of thing people do too.
I really like that.
Yeah.
Do you ever cut like any deals for like somebody picking up a bunch of titles?
Yeah, definitely. It could be a bunch of titles or it could be a couple of bundles. I sold 4 Wii consoles with games and a GameCube all to the same buyer late last week. They bundled it all together and they got a flat 15% off the entire thing. So
Oh, that's cool.
that's just how like Vinted does their stuff. That you can do percentages off based on how many lots that they purchase. But if somebody reaches out and they're like, "Hey, I'm looking to buy quite a few things. Like, would you do a discount?" I'm like, yeah, of course. So yeah, it all just depends what they're buying. But again, I want to sell the inventory. I don't want to sit on it. If I can sell it to one buyer, at once, easier for me, easier for them.
Yeah. Keep it liquid.
Right.
Yeah, I like that. I've got a few closing questions here, and then I'll hit you with our rapid fire segment that we always like to hit our guests with.
Okay.
I kind of asked you, but you can go ahead and just kind of put it back out there. Where can anybody that's listening find you next? The next event you're going to be at? Then of course, we'll plug your online store.
Sure. So I'm going to be at the Cleveland Gaming Convention. That's going to be in Cleveland, Ohio, September 12th and 13th is when it's open to the public. I'll be setting up on September 11th, which is a Friday evening. But we'll be there. I'll be there actually with one of my friends from Milwaukee. His name is Hobbish, and he also does a video game buy sell trade. So him and I team up. We've got
cool.
a booth. We've got a really killer collection of a lot of pretty much every title from Nintendo to PlayStation. Not so much Sega, but details aside, we have an awesome collection that we're bringing. Probably like $100,000 worth of video games together. And we'll have very competitive prices. A lot of the time at those conventions, they're selling for like full price plus because it's a convention. But we try to move our products. So we'll be at less than the market value for all of our items.
Nice.
You mentioned that people can also sell games to you. Where can they contact you for that or buying games?
Yeah, I mean, the best place is going to be Facebook Marketplace. So you can share the link. I'll send you my profile, but they can message on any of my lots or message me directly. I'm pretty much by my computer or phone almost 24/7, except for when I'm sleeping. So
aren't we all?
They can sell me games there. If they want to ship games to me, I'm happy to do that. I can make a prepaid shipping label too, so it's no cost to them.
Wow, make it easy.
So makes it pretty easy.
Absolutely. Well, I've got our rapid fire questions here for you. Don't put too much thought into it, just however you want to answer it. What is your favorite gaming console of all time?
The Nintendo 64, hands down.
Nice, same. What is your favorite gaming controller of all time?
Probably the Super Nintendo controller. It's just easy. It's intuitive.
Cartridge or disc?
Cartridge.
Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox, or Sega?
Nintendo, all the way.
wait. Your favorite console design?
Console design. I like the PS2 console design. It's kind of got that like dark look to it. And
Yeah.
it always runs smooth.
What about that startup sound on that thing too?
Oh yeah. Wasn't the PS2 one of the first ones you could either run vertically or horizontally?
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
And then it felt weird to put the disc in vertically because you're like, is it going to fall out?
Yeah, exactly.
In there somehow.
Yeah. Best handheld device?
Probably the Game Boy Advance SP.
Oh, dude. The Game Boy with all those crazy attachments on it, too. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we used to play the Game Boy Color and have, like, the worm light and then, like, the magnifying glass.
Yeah.
All over the place.
Attachments out the butt. Game that everybody should play once.
Mario Party, you brought up earlier.
Oh, yeah.
Great time. But also, you know, Zelda Ocarina of Time.
Yeah. Classic.
Like that, just classic.
Absolutely. I have not played that one.
What? Oh, my God. Gotta come over. Most overrated console.
I don't know, I'll probably get some shit for this.
Uh-oh.
I think the Xbox is a bit overrated, but that's biased because I never really played it much, but yeah, it's biased.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's pretty much all we've got for our rapid fire questions. We will plug. You can go ahead and give one last plug to where people should hit you up for any of your retro gaming needs, whether it be a console or a video game.
Yeah. So like I mentioned before, Facebook Marketplace, which you guys will send a link for, but I also run a pretty big Discord network across the US. So I'm not the only, I don't do this myself. You know, I buy, sell, source video games on Marketplace, but there's a whole group that I've created on Discord. It's called the Marketplace Mavericks. It's kind of an underground network. It's free, but it's private. So what we do is, you know, I'll be sourcing video games. Say I'm looking for lots in Arkansas. If somebody's out there and they're selling a video game console and a bunch of games and it's profitable and they won't want to ship it to me, so I've messaged them and they're like, no, I don't want to ship. I'll share it to the Discord. It tags the 3 closest people so that they might be able to pick it up themselves too. So I'm not in it just for myself. I'm sharing profitable lots on a daily basis to a bunch of other members. So we're about 150 members strong. And I'm always looking for more members across the states to have more coverage geographically. So,
man, that's
really,
legit.
Yes, yeah. So I created that a few years ago. I know I didn't mention it before, but like that's also where I'm doing a lot of buying and selling. Just a really great group of people that are also trying to make some money, but also build their collections. So, you know, it's not just me making money for myself. It's me helping other people, you know, make money and boost their collections too.
That's like the polar opposite of like what you normally hear businesses doing. Normally like cutting each other's throats, like trying to make all the profit.
No,
man, that's sick.
It's no fun that way. And when I'm hunting on Marketplace too, like there's a group of probably about 5 of us that are searching. And, you know, if one of us messages on something first, like we let that person have it.
Wow.
So, you know, it's about kind of building a team with that. And if you're in it for yourself, you're not going to go as far. But if you like share that knowledge and, you know, you're with other people trying to, you know, help them out too. You just have a good group that you create. It's good camaraderie.
Man, that's so wholesome. That's
cool.
That really is.
If you guys
wholesome.
want to join it, I'm more than happy to invite you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm always down to find new games to play. You know, link up with good people. You know, I'm all about the retro stuff. That's sick, man.
Yep.
Well, man, we can't thank you enough for coming on the show, guys. Go hit up Tom White on Facebook Marketplace if you want to find you a retro game. I'm telling you, can't beat his prices. I can say I've bought something from him. Good experience. It was awesome, and man, I can't thank you enough for your time joining us on the show tonight.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Jordan, Josh. Thank you guys so much for inviting me.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, that being said, guys, we're going to throw it to an outro, and we will see you in the next one. Brother, what are you still doing here? Check out some of these social medias below me. If you're not following, go change that today.